tomorrow I'm going to be starting my tomato seeds. And I need to prepare this container. I have one left. I think I'm going to need 5. And over here I have 4 of them all ready to go. So I had these made up a few weeks ago. Of course, the dirt dried out, so I had to bottom water and it just reabsorbed the water, but I still need, so I got to fill that last tray of containers, but I have no more seed starting mix. And all my supplies are out in the greenhouse, so we're going to take this tub out to the greenhouse and I'll show you how I make my seed starting mix. First, we're going to start a pot of water. So, peat moss and vermiculite, that's what I use for my seed starting mix. I am going to use around a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2 parts peat moss to 1 part vermiculite. About 2 to 3, like 2 to 1, 3 to 1. I mean, it doesn't have to be set in stone, but around about there creates really good aeration, really good drainage for the soil. So for each 2 of these, I'm going to do 1 of vermiculite. Give it a good stir. Alright, the water is just about to a rolly boil. So once it's boiling pretty good, we're going to dump it into the dirt. So this kills off any fungus gnat eggs or bugs or anything, so that when your seed's starting inside, they don't hatch and then destroy your vulnerable, they don't destroy your vulnerable baby plant starts. So I'm gonna need 2 pots of water. So I'm gonna get another one boiled and another one dumped. Then I'm gonna stir it up and put the lid on, and we'll be ready to seed start tomorrow. The soil will have cooled and we can fill the pots. Actually, this feels pretty moist. I think I'm only gonna need that 1 pot. Once I get it all stirred up, hot. This is a step that you don't want to take for granted. I always still put up sticky tape, like the fly sticky tape, just in case there's a rogue egg sac that hatches to try to catch whatever, but one time I didn't do this and I had spider mites, and they just, once you have all your hard work destroyed, you'll take the time to do this step. Yeah, that's pretty good, because you don't want your soil to be sopping wet. And I'm going to get started with this tomorrow, so let's let that steam.
Okay guys, it is about 4:35 in the morning. I've been up since 3:30 and I gotta do something because I can't seem to fall back asleep. So we're gonna get our last set of these filled up. So I have 5 ready to go for today. All right, so this has been sitting here for over a day because it's like 2 days later after we stirred this up. But it's nice and cooled down now. Still damp, so you don't want it to be sopping wet. You just want it to be moist enough that it'll hold its shape, but when you squeeze it, like, no water will drip out of it. So I think I'm going to do a little experiment. I usually don't do this, but I'm going to see how it goes. And I'm going to add some worm castings into this and maybe a little bit of tomato tone. That way maybe I don't have to pot them up to bigger pots as soon, because the soil will already have some nourishment in it for them to stay in those pots a little longer. I think that's what I'll do. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so I've got a cup of worm castings. I'm just gonna, and then a cup of tomato tone. All right, and I'm just gonna mix this in. Oh, God. So yesterday was an exciting, busy day. We went and got all the supplies to build my chicken coop. Changed my mind about the size that I wanted it to be. Had to go back to Lowe's, get more wood. But hopefully my husband's home today to get started on the build, because I ordered my chicks and they're supposed to be here this Thursday or Friday. So it's Sunday early morning now, and I'm just so excited. I can't wait. Okay, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna fill up these pots at 5 in the morning. Last one. They are all ready to go. Now comes the hard part. Going through my tomato seed collection and figuring out which ones I'm gonna start this year. I know I gotta narrow it down. How much I'm gonna narrow it down? Ugh. I'm gonna sell them, so I can start what I want, right? All right, so here it is. All my seeds. So I've already started my tomatillos and ground cherries. I started those with the peppers. So I'm gonna go sit down and go through these and try to narrow it down to what I'm gonna start. You guys want to see the peppers? It's been 8 days, 9 days. And they are on a heat mat. And whoop, I got the fan going. I like to have the fan. It helps keep the soil from staying too moist. Looky there. We got quite a few popping up. Some, I don't see anything going on, but I hope that changes. And, oh, guys, look. Aunt Molly's ground cherry. So they germinated. And then the, if I can get you in there, the low-end family heirloom ground cherry, those are popping up. So I've got like 10 starts. Oh, and there's some over here too. There's more low-end family ground cherry. So I've got them going. Let's see if I can actually get them to the point where I can put them in the ground and actually get a ground cherry from them. Is this the year? Is this the year for me, guys? Oh gosh. Oh, and look at these. If y'all like sweet potatoes, and this is the first year I've tried this, and I went ahead and tried this method where you just put the sweet potato in, and this is just one of those like aluminum foil pans that you like bake a cake in or a casserole or something. It took about 3.5, 4 weeks to see anything going on. And I was just like, okay, this doesn't work. I took off 5 of these that were maybe about an inch taller, so they were getting really close to the light. And once they get, you know, a little bit bigger than this one here, you pinch them off, and then you just put them in a cup of water, and they'll start to grow roots. And then when it's time to plant them out, they're all rooted, and you separate them up, and you've got your sweet potato slips. Like, I can't believe how easy this was. I'm super excited about it. But look, there's so many more. 1, 2. I mean, you can see they're coming off way down here. New ones. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look, I'm going to have so many sweet potatoes. Ah, it's exciting. Now, I'm procrastinating because I don't want to decide on which tomatoes to start. I want to start them all.
Okay, so it's a few hours later, and I did finally go through my seed collection and picked out 136 different tomatoes to start. I'm probably only going to start 4 of each type. That'll be enough for me, and then enough to maybe sell some plant starts and give away some. But I had a hard time choosing, and there's a lot of these that I'm going to try to save the seeds from this year. So there's going to be a lot of tomatoes in my garden this year. And I might not plant every single variety. I probably will, but we're going to start them and just see how it goes. So it's probably going to be the same process as the peppers. I'm going to do 4 seeds in each pot, 1 in each corner. But first, I'm going to get 136 labels made. Now I have these 2. I've got Hillbilly and this one that's called Flame, which I saw that it was also called Hillbilly on when I looked up Flame on the internet, Hillbilly popped up. So I'm wondering if these are the same, so I'm going to try to plant them next to each other and see, you know, if they are the same tomato. So where to start? I think I'm going to do the cherry tomatoes first. So I'm going to move all of the slicers out of the way so I don't get mixed up. Let's just take these. This is crazy. I can't help myself though. I think I'm crazy now, but when my garden is full of beautiful tomatoes, I'll thank myself. And I'm also planning on trying to sell some starts this year to make a little cash back from all the money I spend on seeds. So I've got some of the, I sometimes call them boring, like Roma and San Marzano, Amish paste. I like this one, Cherokee Purple, but it's one of those ones that you can most of the time find starts at Walmart and other nurseries. So they're nothing really hard to find, but you know, seasoned gardeners that don't really care what they're growing, they usually want that stuff because they use that to can.
Here I was just saying that I was going to try to use these bigger pots, but I ended up just using the same kind of pots that I used for all the other seeds, the 2.5 inch square pots. I just started several pots of the Roma, the Cherokee Purple, the San Marzano. I think I did 4, so a whole row.
But I definitely should have enough tomatoes for myself, for my neighbors, and hopefully make a little extra cash. Okay, so for each pot, like I said, I'm going to take 4 seeds and I'm gonna put 1 in each corner here. So some tomato seeds, like the cherry tomato seeds, they're super tiny. Bigger slicer tomatoes, so the seed kind of mimics the size of the tomato sometimes. I'm curious to see what the current seeds look like. So they're in there, 1 in each corner, so I'm gonna press them down just a little bit and cover them just a little bit with dirt. Just a tiny bit. You don't want to press them down too far because then they won't be able to find their way out. Let's take a look at one of these currants. All right, so I've got orange currant here. Let's see what, this is the first time I've grown this one, so let's see how big the seeds are. About the same as the cherry. Yeah, there they are. Little tiny seeds. Spoon is another, like, supposed to be the world's smallest tomato. Yeah, seeds are about the same size as the currant, so. I just have this, I don't know if I said it in my pepper video, but if you didn't watch that, this is just an old paintbrush that I like to use because it has, like, as you can see, there's paint all over it and some other stuff, but it's got this like flat but pointed tip, so I can press the seeds down just right. It works great for me. And this is like the 1 packet of tomato seeds that I have that's pelleted. Chocolate cherry. I find it unnecessary for tomato seeds to be pelleted. I mean, I guess if you have a hard time handling them, pelleted is the way to go. But tomato seeds want to grow. It is incredible how resilient they are. I actually had a tomato plant grow between a rock wall and my driveway this past year. Volunteered on its own, and that sucker produced so many tomatoes, and I did nothing. I never watered it. It didn't even have good soil, but it went to town. It was all over the place. And when it was time to pull it out after it had died, whew, it was difficult to get out. It had some roots. That's probably why I like to grow tomatoes so much, because they're just so, I mean, they're not fussy. Most of the time they are not fussy. They want to grow, and you don't have to do a lot. You don't have to baby them. They will volunteer everywhere. I love the name of this one. Champagne Bubbles. In my pepper video, where I plant my peppers, I explain what I'm doing differently as far as like pots go this year. So if you're interested in what I used to do and how I'm doing it this year and why, go check out that video. notice that sometimes when you go to open up these seed packets, because they use like that like sticky tape, you'll have some that are like stuck to the top. So just be careful when you're opening it so you don't fling some of your seeds all over the place. And another thing, when you go to get them out, make sure you're tilting it to the side where the tape isn't, because if you do it this way and knock them down, they're all going to get stuck on the tape. Okay, so I'm finally done. So I have all 5 of them. There's two more over here. So I've got all the seeds planted. Now I'm going to take them downstairs into the basement and get them underneath of the grow lights. So this is I actually made a little pile of ones where I'm getting low on seeds that I need to either repurchase or definitely save the seeds from. Okay, so I've got a row of 4 going across here. And then I have the last one, the 5th one here, down with my peppers. All right, so we're gonna let them do their thing. Usually down here in my basement, it's like 80 degrees, sometimes 85, up to 85, because we use a wood pellet stove to heat our house. And these tend to germinate pretty quickly. I mean, it's only been like 8 days for some of these peppers and they're coming up, which peppers tend to take a long time to germinate sometimes. So if you're getting worried that your pepper seeds haven't sprouted yet, it could be because that you're, you know, if you're not using a heat mat, that the room temperature is not where they like it. So give them time. They will eventually sprout, but if you put them in a warmer place, they'll sprout sooner. Same for tomatoes. They're not as finicky as peppers, but sometimes they do take some time. But I'll keep you updated on them, on all my pretties. Now I've got a big old mess to clean up in like 2 different spots. So I'm gonna get to doing that, and I hope you enjoyed today's video and maybe learned a little something. And until the next one, enjoy your day.